Cue music. We're all about class when it comes to pens.
Hey there! Today I'm going to do something that I have not done before. What I'd like to emphasize here is that writing should be fun. It should be fun for children, but it should also be fun for adults. Hey there! Today I'm going to talk about... So, if you are ashamed of your handwriting, and I know that there are quite a couple of you out there, don't worry. Your handwriting is an expression of you, of your personality. And if it is not neat, who cares? Hey there! Today, I'm going to talk about... Get yourself a decent pen. You don't have to buy a pen that costs you $500. You can buy a simple fountain pen. You can get started. Hey there! Today, I'm going to talk about... Remember, writing should be fun. Fountain pens are fun. Ink is fun. Fooling around with your pens is fun. I can really have a good time just doodling and screwing around a little.
And we like to let it show. Welcome to Fountain Pen Radio, presented by FPGeeks.com. And now for your fountain pen enthusiast hosts, here's Eric and Dan. Gentlemen.
This is Fountain Pen Geeks Podcast, episode number 28 for Tuesday, June 12th, 2012. We are recording live on Saturday, June 9th. Welcome to Fountain Pen Radio. This is Eric. Dan, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
Very well. Hey, you brought a friend with you.
Yes, he really needs no introduction. And as we all know, this man is responsible for the invention of the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel... Oh, I'm sorry. That's a different Doc Brown. You know, his achievements aren't nearly as good as this man's, Mr. Stephen Brown.
Mr. Brown, you can say hello now.
Hey there! That's probably what I should say hello,
there.
right?
Today I'm going to talk about my orange hair. I understand,
yes, it is very orange.
The orange hair, and Dan understands it too. Many of our viewers may not, though, so why don't you explain your lovely do?
Well, apparently there is some kind of football thing going on.
And by football, you mean soccer?
Actually, I mean soccer. When I say football, I do indeed mean soccer. And I'll be completely truthful with you. I don't watch soccer at all. But, of course, since there's got to be someone from the Netherlands seeing this, and I would be lynched if I don't actually wear something orange.
Yes, and I appreciate the fact that you... Because the Netherlands are playing today. In fact, in 1 hour, they're playing Denmark. And later on today, it will be Germany versus Portugal. So you don't care for soccer. You don't care for football. Do you care whether or not the Netherlands wins? Be careful with your answer here, Doc Brown.
Well, of course, I would be deeply moved if the Netherlands would lose today, and it would make me cry. But I think if I discuss it with my therapist, I should be fine.
All right, we'll just leave it at that. Who's in the chat room, Mr. Smith? We need to make sure we have certain people here. Well, Rory really wants to be here today. Maya said she would be here today. I don't know. I hope Rocky's here, but it's probably like 3 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Oh, Rocky's here?
He said it's actually 1 a.m. Yep, Maya's here.
All right.
So yeah, we've got a few. I haven't seen Rory yet, so I don't know.
Maybe she's just not signed in. Is that possible?
Could be. Yeah.
Shall we talk about pen shows?
Yeah, I think we should. Coming up June 24th is the Midland Pen Show in Lichfield, UK. Steven, you going to go to that one?
No, I don't think so.
You just have to swim.
No,
it's right across there.
Yeah, I could take a little boat and go rowing. No, I don't think so. I probably otherwise occupied.
I think it's a Saturday.
Are there many pen shows that are anywhere close to you?
There is one. and at least one that I know of in the Netherlands, and that is the Tilburg pen show in the town of Tilburg, which is quite famous because I was born there. That's I'm not sure whether that is the reason they hold a pen show there, but in any case, I have been there once, and I'm almost ashamed to admit that is the only time I've actually visited a pen show.
However, you might make an appearance at the DC Super Show? Question mark?
Question mark? Question mark?
Well,
question mark?
I mean, I brought it up to, I'll just tell Dan and our audience, and I brought it up to Stephen that he should make it to the DC Pen Show this year. And he said, well, starting in September, I'm going to be very busy working on my PhD. And I said, well, it's a good thing that it's in August then, isn't it? And so, yeah, I kind of took that excuse off the table.
It did.
That would be an epic show.
It would be interesting, and I would like to go there. The only thing is that I probably will actually be very busy, not just in September, but from now on, because I have to do there's going to be a big experiment running, so I'm not sure whether I can do it. But if I can, I will be there.
You heard it here first, folks. Before we move on, let's make sure everybody knows where you are, Stephen. Where are you?
Yes.
I'm in my bedroom.
Really? Oh. Actually, I'm in Hoorn, which is a city somewhat to the north of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And it is a very nice city, and you should visit that. If you're ever close to Amsterdam, you should definitely, you're most likely to be in Amsterdam, you should definitely visit Hoorn, because it's a nice old town that was very important at some point, so a nice old harbor, etc.
And I've been to Amsterdam, but didn't make it to your city. Are there just as many in your city bicycles as there are in Amsterdam?
There are 9 million bicycles in Beijing. And I think there are, no, probably not. Well, actually, I have no idea how many bicycles there are here, but I do know that every Dutch person probably owns at least one bicycle, and maybe even two. So you will not find a household without a bicycle. That's really, I really think that's impossible.
That's what I remember most about Amsterdam is the bicycles. Any other pen shows? I think we have one more pen show, Mr. Smith.
Coming up in July 20th to 22nd is the Miami Pen Show. And you can find out all the details at miamipenshow.com. But it looks like they're going to have a pretty good schedule of events going on. A lot of vendors and a lot of people that, we know in the pen community, obviously. I've heard good things about it in the past. I've never made it there, but I'd certainly like to.
They had previously, in the past, called it the Miami Pen and Watch Show. Is that still the case?
Well, according to their website, it's just the Miami Pen Show.
Well, not that we don't want watches at the pen show, but I was thinking when they were calling it the Pen and Watch Show that maybe there wasn't enough interest in pens to keep the show going. So perhaps this bodes well for the future of this pen show. Perhaps. Yeah. Perhaps. One more question, Doc Brown. You were born in the Netherlands. You speak Dutch.
Yes. Raised in the Netherlands. I speak Dutch.
And people do want to know how you learned such beautiful English.
Yes, well, I paid attention at school, and that's where you pick up the odd thing. No, actually, I have a British father, and the funny thing is that he had a Dutch mother, like me, and although he was born in England, I was actually born in the Netherlands, and because his Dutch is perfect, I never spoke English with him. So the accent is a bit of a mystery. But
the British accent, we assume you picked up in school.
Yes, definitely. No, because you have to understand that in the Netherlands, pupils, students are have to learn English in primary school. So it already starts in primary school, and then it in high school they just continue. It's an obligatory subject, so you cannot drop. What do we call it? You cannot stop studying English. So, and the pronunciation that is enforced there is British English, not American.
And I've never heard you speak Dutch, and I wouldn't know whether or not you had any sort of odd accent when you spoke Dutch. But I have heard that when you speak Dutch, you have no accent. You speak it like a native. And I sort of hear your British accent as a native speaker. So that's what the question was. How in the world can you speak both without an accent? And I guess it's just because you've been speaking both since the very beginning.
Ja, aber so wie ich Englisch rede, kann ich auch Deutsch reden. Das ist aber gar kein Problem. Es ist ou français. Français n'est pas un problème pour moi. I think it's just a language thing. I mean, I'm not the mathematical type. I'm clearly the linguistic type. I guess. I hope.
All right. Well, we'll move on then, and I'll think of another question. We've got a poll that was up at our website last week. The question was, how often do you use a pen that is not a fountain pen? And I'll just answer what I answered for the poll. I use a non-fountain pen a few times a month. Dan, what did you say?
I believe once a week was my answer.
And Mr. Brown, did you answer the question? If you didn't, you can make something up right now.
No, I answered the question, and I think my regular viewers will sort of have an idea of what I answered. I said maybe once a year. I would have said never, but that wasn't an option I could pick, so I said maybe once a year. Now, what I would like to share with you, if that is okay, is I actually... there is a monastic order which follows the rule of Saint Nibius. You probably never heard of him, but it's true. And I happen to have here a page from a medieval manuscript, and that's the one and only rule ever said by Saint Nibius, and it runs like this: use a fountain pen, and all is well. Use a ballpoint pen, and thou shalt go to hell. And it's an illuminated manuscript. It has a picture of the devil with a guy kneeling with a ballpoint pen. So that's I'm sorry guys, but if you use ballpoint pens a lot, then you gotta burn.
Saint Nibius. I like Saint Nibius. When I'm not using a fountain pen, it's because I'm forced for some reason to use a ballpoint pen. For instance, if I'm shipping something via the United States Post Office internationally, the little form they have you fill out is not triplicate, it's 6 copies deep. And I don't know what I could push on nib-wise. I would need some sort of a nail, and I just don't have one that I want to try. So I have to use a ballpoint from time to time.
Well, you could at least, you could just take a nail and dip it in ink. Then at least it would be closer to a fountain pen than a ballpoint pen. Yeah, I guess.
Well, 22% of the people who responded to the poll said daily. They use something other than a fountain pen daily. 18% said a few times a week. 13% said just about daily. 6% said never. So there was a never. And 2 votes went for maybe once a year. Am I to assume that one of those 2 votes was yours, Mr. Brown?
I think I was one of the 2.
One of those 2.
Well, so now that I see there is a never, I may have actually said never. I'm confused.
It's a Saturday afternoon. You're allowed to be confused. Yes, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
I was gonna say my problem is signing receipts at like restaurants and places. I found fountain pen ink stays wet forever on those things, and as soon as they touch it or it touches anything, it just smears, and my signature is completely unreadable. So
so ballpoint pen, but they provide the pen for that, so I'm fine. I use that pen. What I really don't like is when you go to like the grocery store and you swipe your card to pay, and they want you to sign. This is the grocery store or a home improvement center of some sort. They want you to sign this little electronic keypad. Even UPS has me do that when they have a signature required package. I don't like signing those electronic things. It's just like to pull out a fountain pen and try to sign the screen.
I just scribble on them because no matter how hard I try, it just turns into a scribble anyways.
Dan,
so
we have a new question. Why don't you go for it?
All right. We're going to do a percentage thing again. So little math for you.
To explain percentage math to us in just a moment.
What percent of your pens do you never ink or never will ink? And we got to thank Skip for suggesting this week's question. It was a very good question.
I'm already going to say 0% for me, so my math was very easy. Doc Brown, if somebody wanted to find the percentage of their fountain pens that they never ink or never will, how would they do the math?
I think that, imagine you have 2 pens that you never ink up, and you have 10 pens in total. You should take 2 divided by 10 and then multiply by 100.
Did you say 10 pens in total? Or 10 pens that you do ink?
Well, the unfortunate people that do actually have 10 pens.
All right.
And are yet looking to expand their collection because by watching you guys.
You led me right into my next question for you. How many pens in your collection, Doc Brown? And be careful because I already know the answer.
Oh, so I'm really being checked here. I think the total number is close to 80.
That's what my information shows. Yes, okay. All right, we'll leave it at that.
You
have more than I do.
You're not lying yet.
I think you have more.
Yes. What, total pens?
It's around 80.
So
both of you are around 80. But if you want to get more pens, we should probably talk about the Edison pen giveaway.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go for that?
Yeah.
Well, we're giving away an Edison. Actually, Brian of Edison Pen is giving away an Edison pen. We're just the go-betweens here.
Yeah, so basically we're holding another contest like we did with the McCarter where you got to send in a postcard, and the winner will have, there's very few limitations, but the winner will be able to select his or her prize from the Edison Pen Company's online current inventory gallery. And so if you go to our post about this, we have a link to Edison's Smug Mug gallery with all his current inventory. The prize selection, you'll be able to select from the then current online inventory. The prize pen must be a non-Urushi, non-overlay, non-bulb filling, non-snake clip pen. Okay, those are pretty much the only limitations.
And it sounds like a lot, but it's not really. That probably throws out maybe. Well, first of all, I don't think he has any Urushi pens in his current inventory. So we're really talking about no bulb filler, no overlay pen, which are really, really high-end pens where the jeweler is actually doing the overlay, and nothing with a snake clip. But that's probably 5% of everything that he has online in his current inventory. So it's like getting a gift card to Edison Pen Company to go pick one of his really nice pens. These are the what does he call that line? The custom line? Right. He has the production line and the custom line. And the custom line is what's online at his site, and that's what you get to choose from. I think it's a fantastic prize.
Yeah, and you'll get a steel nib with it of any size of your choice. And like I said, this is going to be an old school giveaway. Send us something handwritten via snail mail. It can be a postcard, a note, a letter, a page from a journal, even the back of a $100 bill. We don't mind.
We wouldn't mind at all.
It can really be anything, just as long as it's handwritten and you provide a way for us to contact you should you win the pen. Now, there's one very, very important thing you need to remember. You must write Edison rules somewhere on the entry. And then you can send that to us at our address, which can be found at the website. They must be received by Saturday, June 30th. And only one entry per person, please. And then we'll do a random drawing, probably, live on the air, like we did with the McCarter?
On the first live broadcast we do in July, I imagine, so that right after.
Right, and we'll make a post about that to remind everyone as it gets closer. But so yeah, if you haven't sent in your entry, be sure to do that because a freaking Edison pen for free.
We have received a few entries. Yes.
Have we?
Would you like to know how many? 63 in 1 week. 63. Now,
wow.
With a small caveat. That brings us back to that one stipulation for this, that you must write Edison rules somewhere on the entry. Of the 63 entries, 2 came from, I'll just mention him by name, Daniel, because he sent in his entry and then sent a postcard as a follow-up saying, I forgot to put Edison rules. So we're only going to count the postcard, obviously. So we got 62 entries, really. But yes, I'm checking all of these to make sure Edison rules. And this was a stipulation because A, Edison rules, and B, if you're just writing to say hello, if what you're sending is arriving late for last month's McCarter contest. No, this is a whole new contest. So we have to make sure you're actually entering the Edison contest. And the way to do that is just by you writing Edison rules. Have you entered, Doc Brown? Were you aware of this contest?
Not yet.
How many Edisons are in your 80 pen collection?
Exactly 0, which equals to 0% of my...
that was easy math.
0% of my collection. Yeah, that was very easy, and even
Mr.
I can do
Smith,
that.
How many are in your collection? I'm going to say 2, if we count the one that belongs to your wife.
2, but hopefully when the mail comes today, it'll be 3.
On the way. That's right. Where are we going from here, Mr. Smith?
Well, we are going to check out what David Nishimura is doing over at American Art Plastics and VintagePens.com. They, for a while now, they've been making stainless steel breather tubes for the Parker 51 Aerometric filler. Now, this used to be made from sterling silver, but the material is the only thing that's changed. They're now making it to spec. But the big news here is the clear sack that they're now remaking to factory Parker spec. The important thing about this is the exact same material, design. It includes the internal ribs on the inside of the sack. I mean, it's basically the exact same vintage sack, but made today. And this is huge news because the Parker 51 Aerometrics, those sacks have an awesome reputation for being incredibly durable. I mean, I've repaired several that the sack looked brand new. Like, I couldn't tell. There's no cracks. They fill perfectly, hardly any discoloration. And, if you do get one that needs a new sack, it's awesome to be able to replace it with, a factory spec piece.
Prior to these coming out, what did people use to replace the sack in a Parker 51 Aerometric?
Oh, really? I don't know. Just, either another, get a sack from a parts pen or a latex sack or something. I mean, I don't know. I've never replaced one with something else before.
Well, this is big news, is it not? There's lots of Aerometric 51s out there. And
all
of them are old.
Well, yes, naturally.
I don't happen to have one.
I have a few.
And my thinking is that Stephen Brown has no Parker 51s.
Yes, you're right. Although I do have a number of Hero 616s, which is apparently the next
a
best
number?
thing.
You just grabbed a handful. What are you?
Yeah.
Are you a retailer or what?
Well, they fell off the truck. No, they actually you can buy these in a pack of 10.
Oh.
And I thought because they have a very poor filling mechanism. I probably have one here. Which looks like a 51 type of aerometric converter, but the problem is when you use it, then you just fill up the breathing tube and not the sack itself. I'm not sure whether that is the case with real 51s, but it's kind of bad. So I thought, if I get a bunch, then I can fiddle around a bit, maybe turn them into an eyedropper or something. Then I found out that the barrel actually has a hole in it. So now I'm figuring out how to fill up the barrel, and then I can fill them up with ink.
Shellac.
Right.
Shellac.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's great news for
right,
anyone who's a 51 fan.
Anyone a Nakaya fan?
All Nakaya fans. I have 0 in my collection.
Well, they are coming out with a new pen that's exclusive to classic fountain pens. Now, this is nibs.com, John Modishaw. The Nakaya Naka-ai fountain pen, designed by Nakaya master pen designer, Mr. Yoshida, I'll just say that. And this was also in collaboration with John Modishaw, combines the most popular Nakaya design elements. It measures 5 3/4 inches long when capped. And like all Nakaya Urushi pens, it's made from hand-turned ebonite, which is basically kind of like hard rubber. It'll be available in both the clipless cigar version and in the clip-equipped writer model. It can be furnished with any of the standard range Nakaya nibs. So you get extra fine, fine, medium, broad, and extra broad. But then you can also choose from fine, soft, medium, soft, super extra fine, and even music nibs are available. These all also be plated, and two-tone nibs are available, as well as rhodium, ruthenium, and rose gold plated clips. So pretty much whatever you want this pen to be, they can do it. They are now available for pre-order, and they will be arriving this summer. Prices start at just $450 for the black Urushi pen, and you can also get it in solid and tamaruni colors for $550. So an extra $100 gets you different Urushi. There will be a ballpoint version offered. That's what he says.
I'm shocked at that. Although, are they already making ballpoints on their other pens? And I'm just not aware of it?
I don't have a clue.
Wow. Well, I think we have to give some love out there to ballpoint users.
No.
And I agree, Dr. Brand. Customized designs and hand-painted kanji lettering will be available on a special order basis. So definitely please go visit nibs.com, check out more pictures, get all the information and details, and order yours because, man, it's a beautiful looking pen.
So,
what is medium soft? Does that mean you can use it as a pillow, or does it mean it's like flexible?
Your eggs, right?
Yes. Medium soft, fine soft, really hard. Okay. Yeah.
Do we know what medium soft is, Dan?
I'm guessing it's just like maybe the nib is sort of semi-flexible, maybe not quite semi-flexible.
But it has a hint of flex. You said that this particular pen combines favorite attributes of other pens, Nakaya pens. Do we know which ones? Like, it's a combination of some, because it kind of looks like a piccolo to me, except it's a bit more tapered.
It's and it's a combination with like their desk pen, so it's stretched out because it is 5 3/4 inches long. So, it's kind of a combination.
It's a nice looking pen. It's a nice.
I think it's a beautiful looking pen.
I'll see one in DC.
Yeah, that'd be great. I hope he has one.
I don't even know if he goes. We'll have to find out.
I didn't even think about that.
He's a California boy.
All right.
But speaking of pen shows,
there was the Triangle Pen Show was just a week or two ago, and and I was waiting for a couple days for show reports to come out. All we really had to tide us over was one little article from the newsobserver.com. It was okay, but then Jonathan Valey, he published a pen show report on his website. I think it's the Leadheads Pencil blog. And then the next day, Brian Anderson, his comprehensive report was filled with booze, food, lots of driving, and he even mentioned something about a pencil.
That was
so definitely check that out. It was,
and he includes. You can find links to all these stories, of course, at fpgeeks.com. Just look for the article that says, what does it say? Raleigh Pen Show, Triangle Pen Show reports. It's easy to find. Brian Anderson's report includes pictures, and one especially caught my attention. It was a 1920s overlay pen, gold, by the Edison Pen Company. Obviously not our current Edison Pen Company. This is I think he called it a third-tier company of the 20s. So I thought that was very interesting. And that's all I have to say on that.
So speaking of contests, it just seems like everybody's giving away pens these days, and TWSBI is no exception. They recently held a drawing contest where you were supposed to draw a picture with a TWSBI fountain pen, submit it to them. They would pick the 5 best, and then they put them on Facebook for people to vote which ones they liked the best. The results are in, and if you're viewing the podcast, photo E was chosen as the winner, and it's kind of like a sepia-colored picture of a rooster. I mean, it's a beautiful picture. I wish they would have posted these in full resolution. But then in second place came picture C, and third came picture A. So really cool contest. Thank you, TWSBI, for doing something like this. And when are we going to hear news on that Diamond
Mini?
I know,
that's the only thing I'm really interested in right now is the Mini. Doc Brown. Any comments on this?
I am really looking forward to the Mini too, because as I just said, size doesn't matter except when it does, and I always enjoy having a smaller pen that's just more portable and you can just take with you. So it's eagerly awaited over here too.
And we have no idea when it's coming out.
So are you much of an artist, Mr. Brown? Do you draw?
Well, I have orange hair.
Sorry, what was I thinking?
No, I think Vincent van Gogh, Van Gogh, he had orange hair.
Wait a minute now.
Right?
How do you say his name correctly, please?
It sounds like you're about to vomit. Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Gogh. Can you say that? Yeah, something like that.
But
Gogh.
Vincent, I got Vincent down.
Gogh. Right? No. Now Vincent is easy. That's the easy part. Then you move on, and then it gets more like a throat disease.
Why in the world do we say Van Gogh? Because it's easier. I mean, we can say it.
Why do you say Rembrandt? It's Rembrandt.
See, that answers your own question. I say Rembrandt because it's possible.
The mysteries of linguistics baffle us again.
All right, moving on. Let's go to Italy, shall we?
Yes, we shall. Stipula. Wow, this new green iris limited edition fountain pen is just amazing. If you're into retractable nib fountain pens, you're going to love this. The Stipula has made a very limited number of this iris fountain pen in a green and black celluloid. They've made one before, but where this differs from the original is that this one is turned from one solid piece of celluloid. It features an in-house Stipula-made piston filler, and by removing the small cap that covers the nib opening and placing it on the opposite end of the pen, the nib can be extended into its writing position. So I think we're kind of all fairly familiar with that mechanic. One very cool feature of the Stipula Iris is its clip. It rotates a full 360 degrees around the pen, so no matter how you hold it, the clip won't be in your way. It features Stipula's T-Flex titanium nib and is limited to only 23 pens worldwide. It carries an MSRP of $950, and you can check out pentime.com for more information about this.
Very cool looking pen. Very nice looking.
It's beautiful looking. I would really like to have one.
So retractable nib, you say, but not a safety filler.
No, it's a piston filler.
What's the point? Yes, educate me. What's the point of having a retractable nib if you don't have to retract it in order to fill it? Just the coolness factor?
Yes, retractable nibs are awesome.
Okay. Do you agree, Mr. Brown?
I'm checking it out, and I have to admit that I don't like it.
That's fine. That's perfect. Take the contrarian position.
It's yes. First of all, I think I can't see through the orange hair, but I think the green. Well, I'm not sure about the green, but in any case, I there is this weird cap which I'm sure is covering the nib, and I think that makes it look like a medical instrument that you force down someone's throat.
Well, I think when the cap is on it, that means the nib is retracted. Is that correct, Dan? Yeah.
Yes.
I think retractable nibs are cool.
I do, however, think.
Yes?
Yes, well, maybe that's the issue too, because I don't own a single pen with a retractable nib, so maybe I haven't fully realized the extreme awesomeness here, and that may explain why I'm not really marveling here. But in any case, I do think, Eric, I get the strong feeling that you don't like clips.
I usually do not like clips. I prefer clipless.
Well, obviously, this pen is the answer, because you just can rotate it in such a way that you can't see it. I mean, isn't that ideal for you?
They also make pens with no clips at all. You don't even have to bother rotating them. So that's really, the answer. I like clips if it is a pen that I know I'm going to be taking out of the house, which are few of my pens, except when I'm going to a pen show when they go in a case, and then that's fine. But if I don't generally just walk around with, because never mind. Clips get in the way most of the time. And I do like retractable nibs. I really like on my vanishing points. And I would like to have a safety filling pen, which I don't just yet. But I guess in this case, the case of the Stipula, the retractable nib is just a coolness factor thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's an awesome factor thing. Shall we have a little commercial here for Pen Collectors of America?
Yeah, I think we should. They do a lot of good things for the pen community, and bidding or possibly buying one of their pens from the auctions is a good way to support that. Their latest is a vintage Conklin in orange celluloid, and as of right now, it's got 3 days to go on their eBay auction. It's sitting at $81 with 7 bids, and this pen was donated by Mr. Donald Nankervis. He's actually donated an entire collection to the PCA, and every now and then they sell off a pen to raise a little bit of money. And these things go to help fund, all the activities that the PCA does. The pennant, the pen for kids, in any kind of event that they put on at pen shows, and it's just a really good cause. It's a good way to give money to the PCA, and as well, get something out of it. I mean, get a heck of a nice pen. And coming up for their next auction is an oversized model Eclipse, which is supposedly supposed to be in super great condition. So I can't wait to see that.
And how do people find out about this? I suppose they can follow the particular seller that is PCA Pens on eBay, and or they can keep an eye on our website, because you keep us up to date on these auctions, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I will I always follow them, so I know when their latest pen comes out. I post it at our website. I keep updating that same post so people can see what pens they've sold in the past. And so you can either follow us, then we put it out on Twitter, we put it out on Facebook, or you can just go to eBay and follow PCA Pens directly. You can subscribe to their auctions, and you'll get an email notification each time they list something new.
Very good. I'm going to go to something that is full screen while we try to get Doc Brown back in on this conversation, because I've lost him. Have you lost him? All right. Let's see what I've got here. Full screen. Oh, something we're going to talk about in a moment.
So every year since 1992, Montblanc pays tribute to the great writers whose works have become part of worldwide literature. With this new creation, the limited writers edition is dedicated to the British-Irish writer Jonathan Swift. He was a writer, a poet, an essayist, and creator of the satiric masterpiece Gulliver's Travels. Now, the overall design of this pen draws inspiration from Gulliver's Travels, and in particular, the Lilliput episode, Gulliver's First Voyage. So the barrel and the cap, are obviously made of black precious resin, and it has multi-layered inlays reminiscent of the ropes that were used to bind Gulliver at the beach of Lilliput Island. The cap is shaped like Gulliver's tricorn, a typical tradesman three-cornered hat popular in the 18th century, and it bears the signature of Jonathan Swift on the cap as well. Now you'll notice the platinum-plated clip is supposed to depict the staircase the mayor of Lilliput had to climb. No price on this, but it's a very interesting design. A lot of people say they really don't care for it. I think I'd probably fall on that boat.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in real life, but I think I like it. If I had to guess, I like the triangular top. And here he comes. We were talking about the Montblanc Jonathan Swift. I searched and scoured the press release for this for the MSRP.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I'm guessing we'll have to get a hold of a boutique to find out what it is.
Welcome back, Doc Brown. How are you?
I'm fine. I am afraid that I may have offended a ballpoint pen user and my laptop was shut down remotely, because that is exactly what just happened.
Sure it wasn't the hair?
I hope this... Well, the hair is gone now, because I thought it might be. So I hope that this will... I will hang in there.
I'm glad to have you back. We were lost without you. Didn't know what to do. We were just, floating in an ocean of doubt. At any rate, Dan, I did call Montblanc. Of course, I had to call Montblanc. And I'll tell you my experience. I called the first one, and they said they didn't have the information in front of them. Could I give them my phone number so that they could call me back?
Which boutique did you call?
That was the Los Angeles, Beverly Hills.
Okay.
And of course, I gave them my name and my phone number, and waited their phone call. Which, she made it sound like she was going to grab the book and call me right back. Well, 5 minutes later, she still hadn't called, so I called the Montblanc boutique in San Diego and spoke with someone else who was typing away at her computer, getting me the information, and said her computer froze. And asked for my phone number and my name so that she could call me back with the information. I mean, it seems to me that Montblanc's main goal is to get your name and number when you call, which is fine with me. I don't mind that. Although it is kind of irksome. You call them about it. They should know the price of this off the top of their head. Now, San Diego did tell me that she was positive, without being able to verify it in the computer because the computer was frozen, that the MSRP on this is $985. And okay. I said, well, that's quite a bit more economical than Alfred Hitchcock. And she said, yes, but they only made 3,000 of those, and they're going to make 14,000 to 16,000 of these, if I remember correctly, is what she said. She was supposed to call me back with, she said the $985 price it's plus or minus $50, is what she told me. Okay. And I don't know whether to believe that or not. You're hearing it from Montblanc, or a Montblanc boutique employee, so you think you should be able to believe that. But she was supposed to call back once the computer came up to verify the price and to tell me exactly how many the fountain pens are going to make in this edition, and I did not get a call back from her. So we're saying $985 for now, which for Montblanc prices, That's what? It's not...
For a writer's edition, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, wasn't the Hemingway 985 in 1992, 20 years ago? Not that this is going to be a Hemingway that I know of, but Stephen, are you able to see the picture of the Montblanc? Oh, you can look at it at the website.
Yeah, I did see it. We're talking about the Jonathan
Yes, the
Swift,
Johnny B.
right?
Good.
Ah, yes. Yes, I think it's an interesting pen. I thought it looked a bit like an anti-tank weapon with the shape.
That's awesome.
But I did. It's different. I mean, it's different from a lot of the Meisterstück pens, which I do like. I mean, I like the fact that it's different. And I like the Meisterstück pens, but whatever. In any case, I think it's interesting. I like the story with the Lilliput guys and the ropes they use to tie down Gulliver. That's on the pen. I think that's an interesting
They do put
detail.
a lot of detail into the pen, detail with meaning.
Yes, in fact, they put in so much detail that I was shocked because there was some bit where the Lilliputs. It says something on your side that they walk between Gulliver's legs.
Yes, the imprint on the nib, are the soldiers walking between Gulliver's legs.
So for a second there, I thought this was going to be an 18-plus pen, like R-rated. But now I've seen the picture, so now I know what they're talking about. Yeah, it's a nice nib.
I like Montblanc because their themes are always very comprehensive. You know, they include a lot of details, but sometimes, you know, I feel in practicality that it doesn't translate well, you know. I mean, it doesn't always look the nicest, and I'm kind of getting that a little bit with this pen here.
But we want to see it in real life, don't we, Dan? Yeah.
Well, of course, you know, that could totally change things.
So for now, I'm withholding judgment. I think I like it, but that's all, you know, based on seeing it in real life. And wouldn't you know what? I was there 2 weeks ago. They couldn't have had this pen out for me. Hey, I'm not going to complain. I got to see the Alfred Hitchcock, didn't I? Yeah,
that's right.
I think we have another pen to talk about.
So yeah, let's take a look at a pen that we've actually seen and held. This is the Conway Stewart Revolution, a very limited edition fountain pen. Conway Stewart has just announced their latest pen called the Revolution. The Conway Stewart Revolution is an oversized pen made from solid sterling silver and features asymmetrical shapes that are milled into the pen, then filled with translucent enamel. The Revolution sports an oversized 18-karat gold nib available in the wider range of sizes that Conway Stewart is known for offering. The Revolution will be released in 4 variations throughout 2012, and each variation will feature different color combinations. And this one is being offered as a Rick Will limited edition. So it has a lot of bright and vivid colors. This Conway Stewart Revolution is limited to only 10 pieces and sells for $3,995.
How much?
$3,995. Wow. So definitely check out their website. They have a lot more pictures, a lot more information. It's definitely a cool thing to check out. Now, it is solid sterling silver. The work is very detailed, very intricate. The pen is so heavy. It's 110
we
grams.
held it.
Now,
remember we held it in
Los
Angeles.
Yes, we did. I mean, it's very heavy. But it's very beautiful.
It is beautiful.
If you've got the money, I mean, by all means, go buy this. I don't think.
No, it was beautiful. I remember it, and it was very heavy. We were talking about a pen last week that I think was 95 grams. Which pen was that? Do you recall? Not going to come to us, is it? So this one is even heavier than the very heavy pen we talked about last week.
The colors, like the pictures, do not do it justice, because I remember this pen, and the orange, the white, the blues in it. I mean, they just shine. They pop. I mean, it's mesmerizing almost, and you just don't see that in the picture, which is a shame.
No, obviously it's would be much better to see it in real life, which we have.
Oh, the Anoto Aviator.
Oh, that's right.
That was the other heavy pen. So
yes, I'm
thank you, Chad.
Trying to get Mr. Brown back.
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Cannot see you.
Yes, we seem to have... No, I'm afraid there seems to be something with my computer. For some reason, Skype is overloading my CPU.
I was going to say, well, you're overheating of some sort, but...
No, well, I am... You never know with me. So what I'm doing now is using my iPad. And that...
We have your picture up, so we can at least see what you look like. This is a reasonable facsimile to live FP radio. I'm willing to take this over not having you. How about you, Dan? And especially you came back just in the nick of time, because the next thing we're going to talk about are your daily carry pens. And in particular, yes. I want to know all about this ballpoint. You seem to play the game that you don't care for ballpoints, and yet you carry one. And you carry it apparently on a daily basis because it has a caliper on it, caliper gauge.
It has a caliper gauge on it, and I'm very happy I know that word in English, because I don't know what the Dutch term is. Yeah, probably something. I'm not sure. In any case, it's you know what it is, right? So it's a thing you use to measure the thickness of other things, I guess. And that's pretty much all, because as you probably found out by now, I have absolutely no idea what to use it for, because I have no use for it. It's just that I like the way it looked.
I think it's very cool. My question about it, though, is the little arms that are part of the caliper gauge itself, are they not retractable, foldable? Are they always in the way like that?
They're always in the way, and especially because I carry it in my coat pocket. I stab myself.
Stab yourself, but you put up with that because it's just for the coolness, awesomeness factor.
But because it is so nice when people tell me, could I borrow your pen? Of course, I'm not going to give them a fountain pen, so I say, sure, take my caliper gauge pen, and then they're really impressed because they don't know what it is either, but it just looks cool.
Dan, did you have a question about his daily carries?
Now the Platinum Preppy with the highlighter tip.
Yes.
Do you always have that filled with Noodler's Dragon Catfish?
Pretty much, yes. I do also have the Pelican M205 ink, which is yellow.
Yes, I have that as well.
Which I like because it is extremely bright. It's something I really like. But actually the for the last period of time I've been using it was the Dragon Catfish. Yeah.
And how often do you actually use the highlighter?
The highlighter I use quite a bit because working on the PhD, I have to read quite a lot of scientific papers, and then it's just convenient to mark and highlight stuff.
And now I'm intrigued about your Platinum Preppy marker that you use on dry erase boards, on whiteboards.
Yes.
Now I'm not familiar with that Noodler's ink, but is that what it's designed for, or?
Yes, that's exactly what it's designed for. There are two inks in that series. There is blue erase, which is blue, and there is black erase, which, believe it or not, is black. They are really designed to be used on a whiteboard. So you cannot use one of those regular whiteboard erasers. You actually have to use a damp cloth or something that's at least a little wet. But even so, I mean, the ink comes off completely. So it's really nice. And I have the feeling that if you like that ink, you should pick it up quickly, because I got the impression from one of Nathan Tardif's videos that he does not intend to keep that ink in relation forever.
Well, that's terrible. That's too bad.
Yeah. He took it. I think he took it to a pen show, and I honestly I forgot which one, but apparently he put it out and no one used it. No one tried it out. So then he thought, well, apparently this is not a great success, and maybe I should reconsider actually selling this.
We'll put you in touch with Dick at Luxury Brand so that you can send an email asking that it not be discontinued, if for no other reason but the fact that you use it on a daily basis.
I think I'll actually pick up some of this and convert a Preppy, because I'd get some use out of this. That's very cool.
A whiteboard or something like that? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Probably about once a week.
See, I don't, so I wouldn't need that. Go ahead.
Something that I also really like about that ink is that I occasionally I have to do something in which I, let's say, draw outlines on images of the brain, and I just use that pen to draw on my computer screen. And just get the outline and then do something. Yes, that's probably. I am Doc Brown, right? I should be a crazy scientist. So that's.
Eric,
that's
can you imagine writing on your 27-inch iMac with one of them? I would pay money to see that.
Well, I mean, probably that is the reason why my laptop just died. But I could.
Although
it really
this
works.
This is just glass on the iMac anyway. You should be able to do that.
Right.
I don't know. Some of the Windows laptops I've had in the past had those soft screens with liquid behind them. I don't think I'd write on one of those. They seemed a little too porous for that. Anyway, Stephen. In your post of your daily carry pens, you mentioned twice teaching, and
yes,
I don't know what you mean by teaching. I thought you were a student working on your PhD, but apparently you also teach. So give us a little background.
Yes, I think that what you should realize here is that the Dutch university system is a bit different from the US and UK systems. So it's, how should I put that? It is not that common over here to get a PhD. Now, I'm not claiming that every American holds a PhD, but it's the whole thing of a graduate school. The concept where you sort of obtain a master's degree and then you sort of go on and get a PhD. In the Netherlands, it's very different. So we have a system in which you obtain a bachelor's degree after 3 years of study, and whereas in the US, people may then stop and actually get a job. Over here, it's very uncommon because we only introduced this system a couple of years ago, and before that, it was just you either finish the whole study, which equals to a master's degree, or you don't, basically. So once we start to go for a master's degree, it's a completely separate program. And then after the master's degree, this is what almost everyone who goes to university does. So you obtain a master's degree and then stop. And then there are some people who'd like to, either have a career in academia or have another reason for obtaining an advanced degree, and they then continue to get a PhD. And that is what I did. Now, the thing is that if you are a PhD student, you are actually paid in the Netherlands. So you become part of the faculty. You're officially not a staff member, but you are in the faculty and retained by the faculty, and you get a salary, which is, of course, how I fund my pen buying operation. So
it's like what? A huge salary? So you don't have to be specific, but I mean...
No, it's $500,000 a year. No, it's not. It's enough to sustain yourself. So it's yeah, but definitely. I mean,
they don't pay you. They don't pay you to study for your PhD, though. You have to give something back, and this is where the teaching comes in.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So every PhD student in the Netherlands is usually funded by the government, so not by the university itself, but we have a system which is, I think, close to the US, where you write grant proposals and they're either funded or not. And then usually the students don't write the grants, the staff members do, and then they can hire a PhD student. Now the thing is that because the government pays and because the university gives you the opportunity to do this, in return for that you have to spend 15% of your time teaching. And that's something that some PhD students really like, and others really don't. And I happen to be one of the people who like it.
I'm guessing that you would be one that would like that. Yes. So you spend approximately how many hours a week teaching?
Well, it depends a little on the type of course. I teach a course on basic academic skills, so that is writing and presenting research, and that usually involved some teaching, of course, but also a lot of grading papers. Oh. Which is something that of course takes a lot of time, but on average I would say that maybe half a day or something a week goes up to the teaching, something like that.
Very good, very good. Dan, did you have another question for Professor Brown?
No, I'm good.
Shall we move on to something that posted this morning? This is like hot off the presses.
Yeah. Anyone here own a TWSBI?
I own.
I do. I have a few.
A major percentage of my collection is TWSBI.
Anyone have any cracks?
Never had a crack in a TWSBI.
No.
Me neither. I haven't experienced either, but a lot of people have, and TWSBI knows this. So they've found a new material that they're going to start making all their pens out of that's going to be much more durable. It's not going to be as brittle as the old material, so they shouldn't have any cracks in their pens anymore. And just to show you how durable it is, they made a little video where they put a barrel and a cap in a vise, and they tighten the vise down where they squish it to like almost half, its thickness. Like the old material, I would think would just shatter by that point.
Like the pens I have right now, if I did that, I think it would just, like glass.
Yeah. And this one, they tighten it down, and then they wind it back off. They turn the pen 90 degrees. They tighten it down, and they wind it back off. And it's fine. I mean, it's a little misshaped, of course, but it's not cracked. It's not broken. I think this is a great advancement for durability of their pens.
Someone in the comments has asked whether or not their TWSBI is doing fatigue testing with this new material. And I have to admit, I don't know what fatigue testing would be on like a pen cap. What was this test that they do in the video? They just put the pen cap, it looks like a cap, in a vise. They squeeze it to, like you say, to where it's about half its diameter, and then they open the vise and it's not broken. What would fatigue testing be?
It would basically be that same process, but over and over again, multiple repetitions.
Do that same thing over and over until you reach a breaking point or not.
Right. No, I'm not sure if that's really necessary with this type of use. That's just going to be in our fountain pens. Fatigue testing in the older material, I'm guessing, would consist of one cycle of this. Like I said, I think it would probably just shatter.
I think so, and I'm not going to try it.
So, right, and I don't know for sure if they're doing fatigue testing or not. I'm guessing they're not, but as far as them developing this new material or finding this new material, I'm guessing that they've done quite a bit of testing for this. So if they say it's going to be better, I trust them. I think it's going to be better.
Now, the question is, A, when is this new material going to be the material used to make the pens? And B, does this mean we all going to have to buy new pens because we want the new material?
I don't know when it's going to start going into pens. Once it does, it will be used in all their pens that are injection molded. If you want this new material, I don't think you can just send your pen in and get a new one. You would probably have to wait until it cracked, and then I'm sure they would happily replace it for free. And then, of course,
but you're speaking off the cuff there. You don't know that from TWSBI, right?
Yes, I do not know. I've not contacted TWSBI. You could certainly ask them and see, but as far as when it's coming out, I have no idea.
Mr. Brown, are you taking a hike or something?
No, I just something like that. My iPad just nearly dropped off the bed. I could just grab it.
Oh, okay. You have some TWSBIs, do you not, sir?
I do indeed. I have a 540 Diamond 540 and a VAC 700. And this morning I had an interesting experience with the VAC 700.
Yes,
do you want to hear this? I tried to fill it with my Visconti traveling inkwell.
Interesting.
And that is not a good idea. And unfortunately, I don't have video, but I'll try to explain to you as graphically and explicitly as I can what happened. So for those of you who do not know what a traveling inkwell is, it's just a sort of tube which you can fill with ink and take with you, and then you can fill your pen with it. So I filled it up all the way to the brim with Gerben Lit de Thé, one of my favorite browns.
I think you said Urban. The J. Urban Lit de Thé. I'll do the translating.
Sorry. So I use J. Urban, Lit de Thé. And Lit de Thé is a color I kind of like because it's a nice brown. And I took the VAC 700 and I pulled back the piston thing. I put it in the traveling inkwell, and then you turn the thing around so the inkwell is pointing up. As I said, it's just a tube.
Falls down to the nib section area. Yes.
Exactly, and then usually you operate the piston or the converter so that you draw up an ink, which will just flow down. And I held on to the two things, the TWSBI and the inkwell, and I pushed back slowly, very slowly. I pushed in the piston, and then bang! It was this sort of sound.
Did you make an ink gun, a traveling inkwell gun?
Well, it was more like a frigging ink rocket launcher. The inkwell flew off, and I was dodging it. So in slow motion, I was going like trying to get out of the way. Right, I'm just imitating the sound here, and the inkwell flew past me. I could just dodge it, like a sort of Matrix style bullet dodge thing going on, and it flew past me. And all the ink flew out, and I was very happy because I thought all the ink flew past me, but then gravity kicked in, and all the ink just fell down straight onto my shirt. And I can tell you now I have a new ink cloth, which is that shirt cut up.
Is your new ink
because
cloth.
there was no way I could clean that, so there was ink everywhere. It was
Dan
amazing.
Stepped away at just the right moment. He put the traveling ink pot.
Oh yes. I know all about this.
Okay.
We actually discussed this while you were gone before the show, and I got to tell you, his acting it out is incredible. He needs to do like a live action demonstration and record it because it's just fantastic.
Means, I suppose you could do this without ink. You do it with water, and it could actually be a fun toy.
Yes, and I think sensible people would have tried this out with water first, but I like living on the edge and being a fountain pen user, so I just went for it straight away, and that was interesting. But I know what to do because we don't have video now. But what I'll do is I will record a video of me acting out what happened, and I will upload it to YouTube so that you can see what actually went.
I am looking forward to that. And you say you operated the piston on the VAC 700. You push it in slowly. Could you imagine if you push it in with force, how much of a nicer rocket you would have?
I fear if I would have done that, the hamster would have died. It would have been hit head on, and it would have gone down. Yeah.
And do we suppose this happened because you retracted the piston before you attached the traveling ink pot?
It's possible. I remember reading in the manual that you shouldn't use it with vacuum fillers, but I thought that was wasn't
I'm
true.
only guessing here, but I think because you retracted it first and then attached the ink pot, you were forcing air that wasn't in the system, in the environment, up. But maybe if you attach the ink pot first and then retracted, you'd be using the same ecosystem to move ink back and forth without adding more pressure, I think. But you're the scientist. You should have figured that one out.
Yes, I should have. I'll run some further experiments, and then I'll send you the publication.
And yes, do send.
Yes,
do send the publication. Dan, you were holding up a Visconti glass V bottle to show me. Was it?
No. Someone in chat asked if anyone had them, but I think they were talking about the traveling needle.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. But I've seen them on TV. But apparently, but they're dangerous in the wrong hands. Shall I?
They can be.
In my hands,
I hear.
yes.
So, has anybody got any recent acquisitions they'd like to discuss?
Doc Brown first.
I got. This is a nice story. I got a pen from Airmail Quality, which is in India, and I got my pen, which is an eyedropper. And I enjoy it. Of course, the review will be uploaded at some point in the future, but it's nice. It holds about 3 milliliters of ink, which is no mean feat, I thought. I think I'll wear some kind of asbestos suit when I deal with that, just to be sure. But in any case, it's nice. I found the nib to be a little dry, but I'll tinker a bit with that. But to my surprise, I got with that pen. Let's point this out. It cost me $18, so less than $20. And to my surprise, I got a free pen with that. It came with another fountain pen, which is, I think it's made of resin because it has that noodler's smell to it. And it has an ink window and it is a piston filler. And I got that for free.
Accidentally? Or as a gift?
I guess it was a gift because there was a small note strapped to it which said something like "with compliments."
They know who you are.
So
yes,
maybe
you're world famous.
Well, that's what they tell me. Yeah, but in any case, I thought it was nice that you get a free pen. So anyone looking for a large capacity eyedropper, I guess Airmail Quality would be.
We have to buy it, huh?
Yeah. That's another way. Yeah, and then I'll say, well, then you should check out Airmail Quality.
And you say you'll have a review of this? Actually, you say review.
Yes. And I should say review.
I don't know. I say review. Dan, say review. And I've never noticed a British accent saying review before, but I haven't paid a lot of attention. I wonder if
what are we talking about?
Putting the accent on the wrong syllable. Anyway, when will the review be up, Doc Brown?
Well, with me, you never know.
It could be going live even as we speak.
You just don't know, because I have a stack of videos which I guess I'll upload first, because there is actually there is a queue of videos that are shot and cut and are just waiting to be uploaded.
And do you have your students do this for you, or do you just actually have a lot of time on your hands, even though you're studying for a PhD?
No, I just have a lot of time on my hands. Yes,
Dan, what did you get this week?
Always, I have received another
something exciting,
another vintage Aurora 88 that I need to do a little fixing up and list on my website to sell. I've now got 5 vintage 88s sitting in queue to get worked on. 2 of those are in original factory packaging with matching serial number certificates. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. And last week I said that I picked up some J-Urban pearlescent
for the dip pen.
Right. I've had a chance to use it. And now these are the little sample bottles. You can also buy these in the larger bottles. The orange, I'll tell you right now, is terrible. I did not have a good experience with it in my dip pen. It was very wet, very runny, and it didn't. The pearlescent didn't show very well. The green, the pink, and the yellow were fantastic in my dip pen, and the blue, it wrote well, but it just it was very dark. Like I think I need to get a very wide dip pen nib to use it in, to maybe bring out some of that more pearlescent and then get that color to come out. But very fun stuff. I think I'm going to pick up some of the full bottles and try and get some more dip pens to use it in, because it's a heck of a lot of fun.
And have you used different inks with your dip pen?
I've regular fountain pen ink.
Something that you have.
No, I haven't.
Okay, do that and then let me know whether or not I need to get these special inks for my dip pens, because I'm just using regular fountain pen ink.
I think this ink is a little bit thicker, and I noticed that when it dries on the nib, it kind of builds up, and it actually improves flow. Like it'll hold more ink on the nib, so you can get a little bit longer use out of one dip. But the main reason I bought it was because of the pearlescent. The shine, the sparkle. I really like that.
Well, I have 2 dip pens, actually 3 if you count the bamboo one. But I'm just using fountain pen ink. So if you could give me a little heads up as to whether or not these particular inks will let you write more words with one dip, that would be helpful.
All right, yeah, I'll do that.
Anything else you get this week?
No, that's all. I mean, I haven't checked the mail today, but
yeah, today you're waiting for possibly your what?
Edison
your
Encore.
Yes, I got some things this week. I got 4 Pilot parallel pens, which are calligraphic pens. They have wide, flat nibs on them. In fact, the one I like the most is a 6mm, very flat brush.
Wait a minute! Did you just say
yes,
6mm? Holy cow!
Yeah, those are awesome. Those are awesome. I know.
Are you going to be digging a trench later? My goodness!
I've inked it up, and it's a lot of fun. I used to like my Visconti 1.3. This one puts it to shame. Now, of course, you can't do a lot of cursive. You want to sign your name, you need the wall for this. But it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And I got all 4 of the parallels that I could find available, which is a 1.5, a 2.4, a 3.8, and the 6.0. The 6 is just wonderful if you want to have a lot of fun with a pen. And they're like $8 a piece. They come with not only a blank ink cartridge, black ink cartridge, I think also red. I haven't tested that ink, plus a converter that they say you use to clean it with, I guess to flush, and a little thin piece of I don't even know what it is, but it's floss for the nib, because the nib is actually 2 pieces of metal that are flat next to each other, as in parallel. Hence the name. And the instructions say that the nib can pick up fibers from paper, and if it does, you can get it out of there using that little piece of nib floss that they give you. $8-ish for these pens is a fantastic price for a lot of fun. Especially when you get, I went for all the versions of the widths so that I could have the most fun possible.
So I'm curious that with that 6mm nib, what do you get, like one stroke across the page and then the cartridge is empty,
I was
or
thinking
what?
That, but no, it's a good sized cartridge. Let's see. The cartridge seems larger than most, although, I don't use a lot of cartridges, but this one seems like the international long size. But the feed, which is inside the section plastic in a way that you can see it on some other Pilot that I can't remember the name of right now, must hold a ton of ink. No, you get more than a couple of lines from this cartridge. Now, I have heard that you can convert these to eyedroppers.
That's true.
But from what I've seen, the only video I've seen of these being converted to eyedroppers included an O-ring above the threads of the section that then interferes with the cap being screwed onto the pen. And I'm thinking the O-ring may not be necessary if you just used the silicone grease on the threads of the section. But I want to test that. I want to test that with water before I test it with ink.
Oh, what a good idea! Oh, you should do that all the time.
But the other thing that I got that I absolutely am in love with is a Franklin Christoph Model 66 desk pen.
Oh, you got it!
It is gorgeous. It is wonderful. It is amazing. I got it with a broad nib. Of course, these nibs are touched by Mike Masuyama, so they are just wonderful. The shape is beautiful. It's very comfortable in the hand. It is postable. I don't post, but it's postable. What I really like is the placement of the threads for the cap. When you put the cap on, usually your fingers, when you're holding a pen, are sitting on the threads that are placed on the section that are used for putting the cap on. That's not where they put the threads on this pen. The thread, I'm going to call it a thread because it looks like it's only one, is just below the nib. So it's on the opposite side of the section where you would usually find the threads for the cap. So when you're holding the pen, your fingers are not resting on any threads at all. This is a wonderful pen at a great price. I've got the broad nib. I'm going to have to get at least 2 more of these because they're just so much fun.
Now, you said the 66,
yes,
right?
There's a 65 and a 66. I think the 66 is slightly larger than the 65.
Right. All right. Well, I'll call Scott. I'll order mine. And what do you say we do an awesome review of it?
I have to. I can already tell you, I think it's awesome.
Well, that's good to know.
What's going on in our forums?
Well, we've got a lot going on in our forums, but I did want to point out specifically a thread posted by Ian, who unfortunately just left the chat.
Ian,
yes,
from
he was.
Or Vancouver or Canada. I'm sorry.
Now, if you remember, we posted the Stipula Tuscan Dreams
he got one of those,
a couple of weeks ago. He did, yeah. A lot of people said they didn't like it. He has got his in. There was a little bit of question about the limited edition numbers. We had posted that there would be 351, whereas a couple of retailers had posted there would be 193. And he mentioned this on our YouTube channel. I said, hey, I saw this as well. I double checked with our guy from Stipula. He confirmed it was 351, but when you get the pen, you'll be able to let us know. He has received it. He said he had got number 36 of 351 pens. He says he absolutely loves it. His 1.1 italic nib is fantastic. He's posted pictures of the pen and writing sample in our forums. So I'm happy that he loves it and that we finally know for certain what the limited edition number is.
One of the things I remember reading, and I'm sure it must have been in that thread, is that Ian loves the clip on that pen.
He does. He loves the artwork in the pen, the detail and the clip and the band. He just loves that stuff, and I certainly appreciate it too.
Yes, it is artwork. But I bring this up only because last week when we talked about the pen for the first time, I mentioned that I wasn't really in love with that clip. It was a little gaudy for me, for my taste. But that's everybody has different tastes, and I'm glad someone has fallen in love with that clip.
Yeah. I mean,
you can always break it off, right?
Maybe they just use a vacuum something or other to shoot it across the room.
But no, he's posted really good close-up pictures of the cat band and the clip. He's posted it next to a Montblanc 149, and when capped, the stipula is actually longer. When posted, the stipula is longer, and just the pin itself is actually a tiny bit longer as well. I didn't realize it was that big of a pen.
Probably not so on the width, but you're talking length, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm very glad that somebody likes that clip. So that means that there's hope for that clip yet. Other people must like it too.
We would, if I make it to DC, I hope someone there has this, because I would love to get a close-up of, not only the clip and the cat band, but also the material, because, man, that material that it's made out of is just beautiful.
And now, that brings up a good point. It's very difficult to judge a pen based on photos. Because you can see a pen that you absolutely love in a photo, and then when you see it in real life, you go, "Oh, that's not exactly what I had in mind." Just the opposite is true. You can see a pen that isn't very impressive in a photo, and when you see it in real life, you say, "I have to have this pen." Hopefully they'll have at least one of those to look at DC, and then we'll know for certain. Because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Ian said that he had lived in, I know it was Italy, I'm going to say Florence, for a time, and so this clip, the artwork on the clip, reminded him of that time, and so he had an emotional attachment to the artwork that is on this clip.
Which happens to a lot of us, actually.
I think you could probably trace all my pen purchases back to some sort of an emotional reaction. Doc Brown, do you agree with that?
Well,
yes, I do. I think fountain pens are really objects that you grow attached to, and I think that's pretty interesting, because I cannot really imagine people getting that attached to a television set, for example, or something else. So I think it's nice that when you own a pen, it's almost like it absorbs a bit of your personality or something. At least that's the way I always feel, and I would really, really be sad if I lost some of my pens. So yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think pens are very emotional, which of course explains why we're fountain pen geeks, huh?
Exactly.
So,
I was going to say we should probably get to giving something away with a Geek Challenge, but before we do, why don't we see if we can find 3 questions from the audience for our special guest. Does anybody in the audience want to ask Stephen something that we have not already covered? I mean, this wasn't really a Geek of the Week interview, but we're trying to get some information out of him.
Oh yeah, when we do the Geek of the Week, it'll be much better.
So, Dan, you're keeping tabs.
We do have one question, Stephen.
Yes.
Do you have a Grail pen?
Do I have a Grail pen? Yes. But let me think about it, because I may have a couple of Grail pens. Some pens that I'm really attached to, I think I'm really attached to a pen that happened to be featured in my my everyday carry, the thing I sent to you, and that was there was a labeling issue with that pen, and it's by Visconti.
Oh yes, that pen.
And
the Wall Street.
Pen, yeah.
Yes.
So now I'm exactly the Wall Street, which looks like a candy stick. I really like the Wall Street. I'm giving some hints here, but I really like that pen because that was my first serious pen. I had owned a number of fountain pens before that, but that one has a 14-karat nib, and I really like it. That nib is not just very smooth, but it is quite springy.
We have to talk about this. I'm sorry, I meant to bring this up, and you led me right to it. Stephen has coined the term nibbage. Nibbage. When you're going to talk about a nib's qualities, you have to talk about its nibbage. It can have great nibbage. It can have so-so nibbage. What you're looking for in any fountain pen is its nibbage.
Yes, it's nibbage, and the Visconti has awesome nibbage.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yes,
awesome nibbage, because of the springiness and because of the feel of the pen, but especially the it's slightly springy that makes it so nice to use, and that's I really like that.
One of your Grail pens is the one that was shown in your daily carry post, and
exactly.
It's not actually a Wall Street; it's an Opera.
Yes.
So would it be safe to say that's your favorite pen of your collection?
Yes, I think that would be safe. There are others that I really like. I really like my Yardled Retro Grand, and that's also a bit of an emotional thing because I picked that up in London when I was there for a course I was taking, and it was a nice trip, and that's a nice memory of that trip. But it's also a really nice pen. It's a big pen. I could also have gotten a Yardled Viceroy Grand there when I was there. And I actually held it with the Victorian finish, and that is the heaviest pen I've ever held. I don't own it, I didn't buy it, but the feeling of holding that pen was very typical because it's all sterling silver, and that is heavy. That is really one heavy pen. But anyway, I don't own it, so I would say that the Visconti Opera Elements is my favorite, and then the Yardled is a close follower, and I'm quite partial to the Delta Dolce Vita Oversize. That's a really nice pen. It's an eyedropper, so it holds a lot of ink, and the broad nib that I have is actually a bit italic, which is also nice.
You mean you converted it to an eyedropper?
No, it is an eyedropper. It actually comes as an eyedropper, and that's funny because I'm talking about the oversize, right? Not the regular Dolce Vita. At least, actually, I'm not sure. But in any case, the oversize came with a thing, and I thought it was a converter, but it was actually a glass eyedropper, a handmade glass eyedropper, as far as I know. So that's kind of cool.
You can't put a converter on it at all?
It doesn't. I'll open it up now. It is inked up, so I'll probably end up with ink on another shirt.
I'm just saying that I have the oversize, and it came with a converter and the eyedropper, but I've never used it as an eyedropper because the threads in my barrel that go onto the section are metal, and I don't know what kind of metal, so I didn't want ink to touch them.
Oh no, yeah, that's the case with mine too. Well, funny, mine didn't come with a converter.
The threads on the inside of your barrel
are definitely metal.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. That's so far I've cleaned it up quite a bit, and there is absolutely no sign of rust or what have you. So
now,
there is actually a rubber O-ring. Yes.
Stephen, quickly, do you have large hands?
I have large hands. If you take it depends a little on what you call large.
Did that come from the audience, or is it personal for you? Okay,
it did.
Who asked that?
No, it did. I don't know. It's scrolled past. I can't see it now.
Well, it's if you take the tip of my middle finger and you measure it down to the bottom part of my hand, so where the wrist starts, it's 8 inches.
Okay.
How many centimeters? We don't know from inches here.
That is 20 centimeters.
Those are very large hands.
That's large hands.
Okay, now back to fountain pens. Of pens, what's the next pen you're really looking to get?
A Pelican M1000.
Ooh, good choice.
You
Me
better
too.
do that before the prices go up.
Yes, exactly. Now, I happen to know a source in Germany which sells these for way less than the
sells them for what they're worth? Oh, did I say that? Yes, I said that.
Oh,
they're overpriced to begin with, and they're raising the prices. Come on.
Well, Stephen, if you happen to get one, let me know what the price is, because I'd probably be interested.
Yes, I can. I think I can just do a quick check. So I think.
Did he just use a calculator?
No, I just typed something because I don't know the. Let me see if I can get the Dutch, because I don't know what you're thinking of a dollar.
Eric, you definitely ruffled some feathers with that comment in the chats. Yeah. There's some people in the chat
not overpriced.
Take too kindly to that. I'm just saying, people didn't appreciate that comment.
I stand by it. They're overpriced. They're overpriced, and they're raising the prices. I don't know. If anything, they should lower the prices. Isn't there a worldwide economic problem? Don't they want Pelicans in everybody's collection?
I guess not.
Okay, so I think the price I'm getting here, the street price.
If you announce this on the air and it's a great price, you're going to be flooded with orders. So just so you know ahead of time.
Well,
these are Pelican M1000s for $2.50.
Well, they're not $2.50 actually. I think the street price around here, to give you an idea, is about 520 euros, something like that. And the price I'm looking at right now with my source is 398.90
euro.
Which, I mean, even if you don't do the conversion, you'll see that's quite a bit cheaper, right?
The street price that Stephen has. Yes, they're worth that. Obviously, they're worth that. I'm talking about retail MSRP. They seem overpriced to me. They are overpriced to me. But that's just my opinion. But it's my opinion, and I stand by it.
So is it time to give something away?
If people are not too mad at me to want to play the Geek Challenge, I'm not giving away a Pelican. Why do we give away a parallel?
Will you give away free advice on pen pricing?
Yes, they don't even have to call me for that.
All right, so what are we giving away?
Pen, Pilot Parallel, because I liked those so much. We can say that the winner can choose any one parallel pen of nib width of the winner's choice. They come in 1.5 millimeter, 2.4, 3.8, 6.0. If I could only have one, I would choose the 6.0.
Yeah, because the 6.0 that has serious nibbage.
Serious nibbage. That is the granddaddy of nibbage.
Oh yeah.
So we'll make up some true/false statements and get somebody on the line to play the Geek Challenge. We'll see. Everybody should know how this goes. I guess our audience might be larger than usual. Somebody calls in, and as I give them a statement, true or false, they can get help from the audience. They can get help from Dan. They can get help from Stephen. Even I will help. What the point of this is that we all learn something, and hopefully we get a winner. So let's have somebody call in right now. 909 909-647-5056. 909-647-5056. Rocky, put that phone down. If you want a pen, I'll just send you one. Go ahead, Rocky. No one else is calling. You can call me.
I'm surprised people don't have this on speed dial by now.
We've got a caller.
Let's
see.
All right. Fantastic.
I've answered. I just have to, wait for it to put on speakerphone. Hello.
Hello.
Who's calling, please?
Ziggy. Mike, but Ziggy.
Ziggy in chat, I imagine. So we have Mike on the phone, and if my iPhone is not lying to me, you're calling from Canada. Is that correct?
I am. I'm calling from Montreal.
From Montreal. So are you a football fan, a soccer fan?
Football. Yes, Germany's playing. I have to hurry up and go watch it at the bar.
But they're not on for another hour and 10 minutes. So no, it might even be 2 hours. Oh, we're good. We'll be offline before you. Plenty of time for you to get to the bar and watch Germany. And who's going to win? Germany or Portugal?
Germany.
Absolutely. You've already won the pen. We can get off the phone now. All right, I've got 3 statements. They're true or false. We're going to make them calligraphy related since we're talking about a Pilot Parallel pen. The first one, if you're ready.
Yes.
True or false, the word calligraphy comes from the Greek word kalligraphia, which means beautiful writing. Dr. Brown.
Yes.
Mike is going out on a limb here.
Beautiful.
So, did you just have an epiphany for the answer, or is everybody in chat telling you yes?
Well, no, I'm not looking at the chat, but actually because Kadipij means beautiful ass in Greek, so yeah.
Did he say what I think he said? I'm having a little... All right, anyway, true, yes, that's true. True or false, we'll go on to number 2. Doc Brown, are you still with us? All right.
I am still with you.
I can't hear anybody.
Oh no,
I apologize.
You can't. But if there's anything important going on, I'll pass the message along. True or false? One of the Chinese words for calligraphy, shufa, literally means you need more practice.
Chinese? I don't know Chinese. I know more Japanese than Chinese. I'll say yes. Yes.
Dan, he's going to say yes on that one. What do you say, sir?
I say true.
Doc Brown, what do you say, sir?
I say shufa does not mean what you just said. I would go for false.
I don't think, Mike, that you could hear Doc Brown, but he said shufa as if he speaks Chinese and says, I'm completely false in that statement. So do you wish to reconsider? I'd reconsider, Mike, reconsider.
Then. Well, I'll go with Mr. Brown.
Yes, man, Doc Brown seems to know what he's talking about. Doc Brown, it is false what I said. Shufa does not mean you need more practice. Did you know that before I read the statement, Doc Brown? Astound us. Just say yes.
Of course I did. It's
we need to have you back on the show, don't we? Number 3, the third and final statement. On computers, multiple typefaces and proportionally spaced fonts, in other words, pretty fonts, can be traced directly back to Steve Jobs having taken a calligraphy class at Reed College in the early 70s.
Typeface. Well, the thing about typeface is that Steve Jobs did introduce typeface to computers and made it better, but no, I don't say all of them.
Dan, give us a hint with your head there, Dan. Oh, okay.
I'm confused about this one. Can I have? What does Mr. Brown think?
Mr. Brown, what do you say on this one?
I say this is such a weird story that it has to be true.
His exact words were, I say this is such a weird story that it has to be true.
Then if Mr. Brown says it's true, I'll leave it to the fates and have Mr. Brown decide my fate.
Mr. Brown has helped you twice now. Yes, it is true. Steve Jobs dropped out of Reed College in, I think, 1972, but he stayed around. He just hung around. And while he was hanging around for a couple of years, he dropped in on a calligraphy class, learned all about calligraphy and proportionally spacing your letters. And when he finally got around to actually putting a computer together, he wanted pretty typefaces. And he based all of that on what he learned in this calligraphy class, according to him. And of course, he's not here anymore, unfortunately, to refute what I'm saying, so it is true. And congratulations on the win. Do you know which size nib you'll want, or do you want to think about it?
What are the options?
Small, extra small, extra fine, medium, and broad. 1.5.
It's more like broad, very broad, extremely broad, and awesome
1.5, 2.4, 3.8, and 6. And of course, I'm talking about millimeters. You don't have to decide right now.
I'll go with 3.8.
3.8. All right, I'm going to send you 3.8. Mr. Brown and Mr. Smith, please talk amongst yourselves while I say goodbye to Mike.
All righty.
Okay, well, that really, I own these parallels with the 6mm nib, and it is indeed serious nib, but they are really, really nice. I really like them for calligraphy, because of course, if you do calligraphy, then officially you have to use a dip pen, otherwise people get angry, because those are the ultimate pens for calligraphy. But I really like the parallels. I think they make great pens for drawing sharp angles in, say, Gothic script or something like that. These are nice pens.
Tell us about the Gothic bastards, why don't you?
The Gothic bastards. Yes. Well, these are not German unpleasant people. Gothic bastards are, if I understand correctly, there was the Gothic script first. And then it slowly evolved, and it got a bit nicer and a bit rounder, because the Gothic script is very angular, right? It's very with the sharp angles, and so the Gothic bastards, they're just more rounded, and that's so. If you think of a let's not go there with Germans lying on beaches with huge bellies. It's just a more rounded version of the Gothic script.
There, it's too late.
I know. I couldn't stop myself.
Well,
Sorry.
I have it's not a confession. It's just a true story. If you have been watching this particular Fountain Pen Radio episode in the video portion, from the beginning, you saw that the opening video was slightly changed because of Doc Brown's presence.
Who was that extremely poor actor that you hired for that? That was really...
All right, so I took some of your YouTube videos and made a little medley. I don't think it's called a medley, a compilation of some of your famous quotes. I especially like the one there you like screwing around a little bit. But yes, that particular one, the one that I turned into black and white, where you were making all these statements about how fountain pens should be fun for children and should be fun for adults, that was your calligraphy video, in which you used a Pilot Parallel 6.0.
Yes, indeed.
Which led me to my purchase of all 4 Pilot Parallels.
Oh, really?
It's your fault. It's your fault. I blame you.
I know. I drain wallets like there's no tomorrow. I get a lot of these comments of people saying to me, "Oh, you cost me $500 this month," and it's I do my best. You never have enough pens, right? Some wise people say
never ever have enough pens. Anything else, Mr. Smith?
No, I'm good to go.
Well, Doc Brown, I'm so sorry that we couldn't keep your video going for the entire show. I think
it's my fault.
It was that wig. I'm sure that the wig offended.
I think so.
Either the wig offended your computer, your laptop, whatever it is you use, or that crack about ballpoint pens. Someone hacked into your.
I fear the latter. Yeah. Hey, before we go,
I don't think we've ever had a guest say that before.
No, before you go, there's something I gotta share with you. Of course, it was my pleasure to be here. I'm sorry I screwed up the video, but
no, it was our pleasure to have you here, and I hope you come back. But the caveat is, let's see what you're about to say.
Yes, well, I think that after what I'm about to say,
you may not want me back.
I will. No, I think you will want me back a lot. Perhaps I can just try to well, no, forget about it. Let's not do this with video. I thought that because in the Netherlands there is this custom that when you are invited to some people's place, you bring a small gift. And I thought I should give you two guys a gift, but of course that's not so easy because I cannot just give you a pen because I'm not exactly sure of your taste in that. For Eric, it would be easy. I just take any pen, break the clip off, and then send it to him. But for Dan, I guess I could just grab the biggest pen I can find, then weigh it down with some extra lead, and send that to him. Then he's got a big, heavy pen. But of course it's not that easy. So I was pondering and thinking, what can I give you? And then I suddenly had the answer. I have access to something in this country to which you do not have access, and these are the awesome Akkerman ink bottles.
Now, how far away is The Hague?
The Hague is quite far away, but of course there is. Well, you should say Den Haag, but it's fine. The Hague, I know exactly what you mean, and it's actually there are two Akkermans, right? I'm not sure whether you're aware of that. There's an Akkerman.
The one in The Hague.
Exactly, because that's the one that sells the fancy ink bottles, and the one in Amsterdam does not. And I'm not absolutely sure if I understood correctly, but this is what I heard from someone else who knows quite a bit about fountain pens, more than I do, I think. He said the Akkermans used to be brothers who split up at some point, and then one, I think, stayed in The Hague, the other moved to Amsterdam, and the other way around. In any case, the Akkerman shop sells the ink bottles, and I had to get you some. So I have one for each of you now. I cannot show you, but the funny thing is, so for those people who don't know this, these are very fancy ink bottles with a fairly long neck with a glass marble in it. So what you do is you turn the bottle around, then I'm staring at one right now, then the neck of the bottle fills up with ink, and then when you turn the bottle around again, the ink is trapped because the marble shuts off the neck, so to speak. I hope
that was very clear, especially for someone who's seen them and drooled over them for quite some time now. Yes, I've always wanted one of those. Very nice surprise. Do continue.
So, there are a lot of inks. Now, I don't think Akkerman makes the ink themselves. It's manufactured by someone else, and I really can't remember, but it was, I think, a big ink brand, but maybe I'm wrong, so it doesn't matter. In any case, all of these inks have a name that means something for The Hague, so it's somewhat related to the city. Now, I asked you as implicitly as I could in an email what your favorite ink color is. Now it all comes together. Well, and Eric, your response was, I like brown, but not brown, but a nice brown. So for you, I got hopjes brown, which is not just a nice word, but hopjes are a type of sweet, so candy. Which, yes, exactly, and it is a specific sweet that's you can not only buy in The Hague, but it's typical. So it's called Haags hopje, which is a type of Dutch candy. So that is what you will get. And then you texted Dan during this email conversation.
And he never asked me why. So he's finding it. He's finding out right now.
Of course, it's completely normal that people ask you or text you to get your favorite ink. So his reply was, I guess, blue. So we had these astute answers, brown, but not brown, but kind of nice brown, and we had blue, I guess. So this astute analysis led me to select Binnenhof Blues for Dan. And Binnenhof, that is like a square near the seat of our government. So it's the name of the square. And blues, of course, is blues. And considering the economic crisis, etc., I think the Binnenhof Blues kind of makes sense. So I have for each of you a bottle. It is 150 milliliters of ink.
Is that like 3 gallons?
Lasts a while. That is like 100 gallons. No, I'm not really sure, but it's. I can tell you it's a lot, and so far I haven't spilled any of mine, so that's a good thing. I hope I will send these. I'll have to do some extra Goulet style packaging on this. They come in nice boxes, and they have a very cute black and white photograph of the old shop front, like the store front with the glass windows, etc., of the store that sells them. So I will send these to you.
I thank you profusely. Wow. That was very, very kind of you. I have wanted one of those bottles forever.
Thank you so much.
And the best thing is, if you don't like the ink, you can just throw it out, put your own ink in, and you still have a cool bottle. So what more could you wish for?
And so you have personal experience with the bottle?
I have personal experience. I bought for myself Chinatown Red, because The Hague also has a Chinatown, and the bottle works fantastic. It works really great.
So it actually functions as nicely as it looks.
Yes, the only thing you should remember is I'll probably do a video on this, but you fill up the neck of the bottle of ink, and then you should make sure that about a third flows back into the bottle. Otherwise, it may be too full, and then when you put your pen in, it will overflow. But that makes sense, I guess. The instructions are on the box in Dutch, so you can practice your Dutch. But it has pictures, so it should work. Sorry?
Thank you very much. Dan, were you saying something?
Yes. That's a very, very generous offer. Well, yeah, I mean, we've been looking at importing a couple of these bottles for a long time, and we've, for one reason or another, just haven't done it. And this is amazing. Thank you so much, Steve.
You want to come back next week?
I'm the solution.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do a special show tomorrow.
Now you want to have me back. And there you get a couple of these bottles. Yes. Well, that's an interesting idea. I also, by the way, we'll discuss this after the show, but where I send them to, because I'm not sure whether I can send them to.
Yes. You save yourself postage.
And then we'll see whether Dan actually gets it. In any case, the boxes are labeled not in a Gothic bastard, but in Old English calligraphy. So I put your names on there just to make sure.
Wow, I'm speechless.
Wow, I am so awesome.
So. We were kind of wrapping up the show, and then you surprised us with this. You got any other surprises for us, Doc Brown?
I will send each of you a Montblanc. No, really. That's it, I guess.
All right. Then, I guess I have to give our contact information out. I almost forgot where we were. If you would like to contact us, you can reach us via email. We are at podcast@fpgeeks.com. You can call us, 415-685-GEEK. That's 415-685-4335. We are on Twitter, twitter.com/FPGeeks. Facebook, facebook.com/FPGeeks. We have a website, fpgeeks.com. We have a very fun forum, fpgeeks.com/forum. We have a mailing address. It's Fountain Pen Geeks, P.O. Box 499, Highland, California, 92346. That is the address, by the way, where you would send your entries for the Edison pen giveaway of June. Full details are on our website. And that's it for me. I am anxious to start watching some football. Soccer. Dan, you got anything for us?
Just remember that next week, our show will be on Saturday, June 16th at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's not Sunday because it's Father's Day, and our special guest will be Mr. Greg Manuskin. So please join us for that.
Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And Doc Brown, any last words?
Famous last words. No, not really. It was great fun.
It was wonderful to have you here, and I do hope that you will come back.
Thank you so much.
I will.
And perhaps we'll be able to get this video thing straightened out before then, because it's great to have you here. It's even greater to be able to see you. Orange hair or not. Hair or not. So that's it for this week's Fountain Pen Radio. Thank you for joining us.
You've been listening to Eric and Dan on Fountain Pen Radio, a weekly podcast produced by FPGeeks.com. Thanks for listening. But the fun is far from over, as the site is constantly buzzing with new content. So until next week, thanks for coming out. Good night.